We are now going to go to 6A. We're changing things up this evening. And tonight we are going to introduce the new director, Jorge Morales. He's here tonight to speak to us, and welcome to Watershed Protection Department.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, good evening. Can you hear me? Yes. No. So I just wanted to come out and introduce myself briefly. I know you have a busy agenda today, so I'll keep it short. Wanted to introduce who I am and some of the things that we're doing at Watershed. I've been with the department now. October 28th is when I became the director of the Watershed Department. So a little bit about who I am, Jorge Morales. This is my third time with the department, so it's not the first time. I actually started my engineering career as an intern at the Watershed Department back in the 90s. My background is a civil engineer. I got a UT degree, bachelor's there. And prior to that, I was military, so I was in the U.S. Army for about 5 years. So I got out of Fort Hood. I didn't go too far. I joined to travel the world, but here I am in Texas. So I did go to the private sector, did some design CIP work. I went to another municipality in the Dallas area for some time. I was a planning and zoning commissioner for a little bit. Enjoyed that work, at volunteer work. So thank you for your volunteer work as well. Came back to Austin in 2009, back to Watershed Department. So when I was in Watershed back in 2009, I was the creek flood mitigation team. So I was doing a lot of the creek flooding projects and the buyout program and many of those flood mitigation projects. Shortly after being back, I did move towards the local flood hazard mitigation program. So I did a lot of the flooding related to localized flooding. So that's where I spent about 5 years of my time before I left the department. In 2016, I went to Public Works. And so I've been there, I was there for almost 4 years as the assistant director over the capital delivery. So I was doing a lot of building of projects for the city of Austin. And so now I'm back. I'm very excited to be back. It's been just over 30 days that I get back to Watershed. And my 90-day plan is pretty simple. I'm trying to re-engage, reacquaint myself with the department, with the employees, with all the great programs we do. So you heard a little bit about my background. I'm a civil engineer. I'm also a certified floodplain manager, so I'm very strong on the flood mitigation side. So I'm learning on the environmental side. I'm not completely oblivious to it. I've worked quite a bit on that as well. But my main focus the first 30 days was to really engage with the department, get to visit all the employees, the programs we're doing. 6 divisions, 360 employees. I didn't get to everybody in the first 30 days, but I'm about halfway there. So not only re-engaging with the department, but with our community. One of the things that I did appreciate when I was in Watershed the first time is when you're doing flood mitigation, you're out there interacting with the community quite a bit. You're listening to the concerns, you're trying to find solutions for the problems. So as a director, that's my vision as well. I want to make sure that communication it's important to me, and I'm out there at the community. So I've already been out to 3 community stakeholder meetings, and so just was at one last night. I'm going to continue to do that. So part of my focus as the new director will be to be out there listening to our community members, also communicating with our developers, obviously. I know that Environmental Commission, you have a very important task, and you vet a lot of the development as it comes through here. But I want to be able to be accessible, be able to communicate, have dialogue. The resolution that you just passed is a very important part of the dialogue that we can have. You know, we do have policies that we have in place. Some of them are grandfathered, but we have to have dialogue on how we continue to protect our environment as we move forward. So I want to be part of those conversations. I want to learn as much as I can as I'm here. Some of the objectives that I set out as a director is really to come up to speed with all the many things. So Watershed, you know our department very well. We touch a lot of things. So I came in right at the peak of working on the Atlas 14, which the department successfully passed the ordinance. So very, very proud of our team for all the work that was done for that. Along with that, we have to do some drainage criteria manual changes. We're working through that as well, so we can catch up on that. Land development code rewrite. That's very, very important to the department, to the city. So I'm coming up to speed as quickly as I can. One of the things I'm very proud is the work Watershed's done on helping with the homeless encampments and the creek work. So continue to support some of that work as we move forward. Coming into the department as the legislators just changed the rules on us when it comes to tax caps and all that. So making sure I fully understand the impacts that's going to have not only on our department, but as a city, so we can collaboratively work together to move forward as a city on that. CIP. Watershed has a pretty significant CIP portfolio now. And so back when I was here the first time, we were trying to find money to do all these projects. So we have the money. We got a lot of priorities that we got to take care of. So I want to make sure that as a director that we stay in front of making sure that we're implementing and doing project delivery. I do have a little background on that, so I hope to help the department as we move forward through that. So I'm going through a lot of the briefings to become familiar with the department right now. Strategic Direction 23 is another new thing. And so we're going through the process like every other department in making sure that we're in alignment. Watershed falls under the safety, but we obviously affect many of the other 5 outcomes that are part of the strategic direction. So making sure that I'm familiar with that, and as a department that we're moving in that direction to align ourselves with the direction the Mayor Council have directed and City Manager's Office, we're moving forward. Another big component that is on my priorities is the equity. The Equity Office was established not too long ago. The Watershed Department put together an equity action plan, so I've read through that. Be meeting with the team tomorrow so we can actually put the plan into action. So there's a lot of components. So as coming into Watershed in this position, I'm very excited. We have, I don't have to tell you this, we have very professional staff in Watershed. I'm just very excited to be back part of the family. So I just want to share a little bit about who I am, some of the vision of things that I'm doing. So as I continue to engage with the boards, commissions, I want to hear your feedback as well, because I'm in that listening and learning stage right now. So I want to take all that feedback so as a department we can start talking where we're going to go as we move forward into the future. So that's all I had. I don't know if anybody had any questions for me.
Commissioner Neely.
I have a question, and that I really enjoyed, and I'm so happy that you have the ability and the work to do. I guess my question is, you haven't had a chance to talk about how you love trees or plants, or because we're just on this group, we're just over the top sometimes.
I just heard you, yes.
With trees and creeks, and what are your thoughts on that as well?
Okay, great question, and I'll answer it. I think you actually summarized what I've said previously. The week before I joined Watershed, I filled in for a meeting for the American Society of Civil Engineers, a lunch meeting, and at that meeting, that was one of the questions they asked me. So, what do you think about the environment, and well, Austin is the most desirable city because of what we've done to preserve the environment, the trees, and so the quality of life here is what it is because of what we've done. And so I think we need to continue to work and collaborate and have a dialogue, just like you're having today, right? So I'm a big supporter of the policies that we have in place. Obviously, we're changing policies because that's what cities do, right? As we're growing, we have to also accommodate the development as it's coming in, because people are moving here because it's a very desirable city. So how do we affect moving forward? So we have to be very strategic and talking through that, and not just being like, this is how I see it, and that's the only way. So I'm very open to the dialogue as we move forward.
Commissioner Coyne?
Thanks so much for coming to introduce yourself. It's really great to meet you, and hopefully you can come to the party next week or 2 weeks.
Oh, you have a
from
party
now.
next week?
Yeah, you got to get that invite.
It's probably on my calendar. It's just, I'm just going from meeting to meeting. So I look forward to the party as well then.
Yeah, and you know, just to echo what Commissioner Neely said, I think that, you know, you're definitely still in your brain is overwhelmed with information about what's happening within the department and what needs to happen there, and we're really excited to see what your vision is for that. I think one of the biggest things that I'm personally excited about and that we've talked about as a commission being a priority for us is also how the department collaborates and leads on environmental issues in a broader sense beyond just water. And that often we have a disconnect in the city because environmental work happens in so many places, and it doesn't always happen in a way that is aligned or that we're being efficient with our time, with our money as a city. And so I'm really excited for your leadership on also having really good relationships with sustainability, the Office of Sustainability, the Equity Office, Development Services, and others.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
No, we look forward to more visits and updates.
Thank you.
Good luck. I know you got a lot on your plate.
Yes, I'll come back as I get the invites. I'll be here. It's on my calendar. So,
Great.
thank you very much. Great to meet you guys.
Good
Have a
evening.
good evening.
Bye-bye.